similar to the other one. Hello, welcome in. We're going to be planting some things tonight. Welcome in, welcome in. We're going to get started planting some things here in a second. How's everybody doing tonight? Or whatever time of day it is where you are. It is about 7 in the evening. And I'll show you what we're going to be doing. Let me flip the camera around here. So tonight we're going to be working with these. These are my tomato seedlings that I grew from a grocery store, a couple of grocery store slices of tomatoes. Wasn't sure if they were going to do anything or not. Kind of did a little bit of internet research, and it was like, they'll probably all rot, but you can do it anyway for funsies, for an experiment. And so I did. And I think at one point I had over 50 seedlings. I have no idea how many are there now. But it is time to get them out of this pot together and get them up potted and into individual containers here. And I am going to give them to whoever in my community wants them. I put up a post in our apartment community complex. I'll put up a post on Facebook Marketplace, and whoever wants these can have these. So thanks for joining me tonight. We're going to start with this and just sit and chat in my little container garden. So turn you back around here, and I'm going to angle kind of here so you guys can see what I'm doing. So definitely chime in. This is kind of a chat and garden sesh. So looking forward to learning a little bit more about you guys, where you're chatting from tonight. If you're growing anything, if you're not growing anything, why? Because my biggest thing is everybody can grow food. So if you're interested in growing, I'm excited to help you learn how you can do that wherever you are, whatever your situation is. So what I'm doing, and one of my cost-saving measures, is I have a bag full of containers that I save as we get them. So like my partner loves to drink soda, so we save his soda bottles. I rinse them out. I drill a couple holes in the bottom, cut the tops off, and voila, I've got a free container that I can up pot things in, and I'm not going to miss it when it's gone. I didn't necessarily pay anything, specific for the container itself. So I don't, feel bad about gifting these. I'm not really losing anything. I think we're going to do a mix of perlite. I just tried this. This is my first time using this brand of soil. I did not care for the other brand that I had. It was way too dense and was kind of stunting root growth. So I got this brand. It does appear to look lighter, but there is like a fair bit of like mulchy pieces in that. Like, can you see that? So I'm not super happy about that. Another thing that I'm noticing is it doesn't have any perlite pieces in it that I can see. So I am going to add that in, because once we water this, I don't want it to become so compacted that these, baby roots can't easily spread and grow. So that's very important in your soil, to give them room to spread and grow, particularly when they're babies. So I've got same name brand here. It's back to the roots organic perlite. I try to use as many organic practices as possible. I don't say I grow fully organic, because there's some things I cannot necessarily control, particularly once I move plants outside. Like you can see some of these buckets that I've moved off the lanai out there, and they've got drainage holes and things, and I can't control whether or not my apartment complex puts down pesticides and things like that, or whether there's been pesticides applied to that soil in the past. But I do my best to use natural methods and organic methods wherever possible. This soil has like a really interesting smell to it. It's definitely different than other soils that I've worked with in the past. Trying to pinpoint like what that smell is. It says it's mixed with plant food. Is it yucca or yucca extract? I don't know. One of those. And gypsum. So maybe it's one of those that I'm smelling. It's got almost like a little bit of like a eucalyptus scent to it, maybe? Not sure. Just mixing a little bit more perlite into this layer. Probably get a bunch of these ready, and then we'll start transplanting into here. Okay, it's my very official garden tool. Okay, one of my tablespoons. So you know what? It works. It does the job. I do most of my gardening sitting, in case you haven't watched my channel before, because I am disabled. I can walk, but it is difficult to walk, stand, bend, and things like that. So I am flopped on my butt on the ground on top of a gel cushion, and I just sit here and putter in my soil, just growing things on my lanai. My last several, I've done test live streams trying to get this one ready so it wouldn't crash for tonight. Over the past week, I've got to talk with people all over the United States and people across the world, and I'd love to know where you guys are watching from and what you're growing, if anything. Like I said, let's talk about challenges. If you're not growing stuff, why that is. So I live in an apartment. I technically don't have any yard. What I do have is this lanai. So that's where I tend to grow most of my stuff. Last night, so we've had like a lot of pretty bad storms here in Florida over the past few days, which is fine because we need the rain. But it was flooding and coming down in like torrential downpour. So it was tough for some of my plants. So I had moved them in here for a few days so they didn't get hammered with those storms again after that. And last night we just got them put back outside so they could get, a little bit of sun after all that rain. Where did my very official tablespoon go? I swear if my head was not attached. Here it is. But yeah, they're perking up today, which is nice to see. A whole bunch of stuff that I'm growing. I've got a couple plants out front. We've got like a little covered entranceway to the apartment. And I've got potatoes and garlic growing out there. And in here, I've got lots of tomatoes and peppers growing. Sweet potatoes. Or garden. Zucchini. Yes, I'm growing zucchini. I'm really excited about that because I love zucchini. And I'll be starting some more seeds for different stuff. Oh, strawberries. I got a strawberry plant growing. chatty tonight. It's alright. I talk to myself all the time, so no big deal there for me. This is also like a good idea. Sometimes what I do is I leave the tops kind of connected. If I need to create almost kind of like a, not a terrarium, what's the other word? But if I need like a covered environment, if I want to kind of force seedlings to grow faster and give them more of a controlled environment, I'll leave this on. This will help to retain more moisture so it doesn't dissipate as quickly and forms almost like a mini greenhouse. So that's a helpful tip. And then I like using things we already have on hand. When I started gardening for food this year, I've grown flowers and stuff before in flower beds and other places I live, but I've never grown food, and I knew I wanted to start, but I didn't have any equipment and I didn't have a lot of money, but I did have like half a bag of potting soil left, and I had a couple containers from plants that I think we had bought at some point. Oh, like the little, when you get the live basil plants in the grocery store, it was like those little containers. I literally had a couple of those, and that's what I started the tomato seedlings in. Well, they weren't seedlings then, they were literally a couple tomato slices. I'd had a sandwich that afternoon and I was full, and I didn't want to refrigerate the tomato slices because refrigerated tomatoes just don't taste like anything. So I threw some soil in the bottom, put some seeds in the middle, or the slices in the middle, covered it up with some dirt, misted them, and lo and behold, I've got like a whole little tomato farm growing in there now. So you can grow food, I promise. Even if all you got is a sunny windowsill, you can grow food. I've got grocery store scallions and grocery store romaine lettuce growing next to my windowsill in the kitchen. So even just doing simple things like that like you bought once and you know you're going to use again, why not just regrow it? Because those things regrow. Just stick them in some water. It's amazing. I'm actually really surprised at how well our scallions have done. They're falling over. They're like way over a foot tall now. It's kind of crazy. Yeah, look at how like there's a lot of sticks in this. I just really haven't found a good quality raised bed mix this year, but hopefully this one does okay with what I'm adding to it. It'll break down over time, but I'm just not really impressed that it's so much more mulchy than soil. Can't wait till I can use some on my own to grow things in. I do compost, which I love doing because I hate food waste. If y'all grew up with those, the common saying, the children in Africa are starving, you better eat your dinner. It's been ingrained in me since I've been little. But, lately with the cost of groceries and how crazy it is, we need to be doing what we can. And those, little food scraps that I can't replant, they make awesome nutrition for our things that we do have growing. So I got a 5-gallon bucket and started throwing food scraps in there with some of the brown material that falls from, the trees around us. And it's looking amazing, which is fantastic. I'm super happy about that. And I just got a second 5-gallon bucket so that I can just let that first one sit and continue breaking down, and I'm starting a new bucket, and I figure I'll just do a 2 bucket system like that. Add a third one, and I guess if I have to, if we fill that one up fast. But we try not to have too much food waste. We try to plan our meals with like whatever we have left in the kitchen that needs to be used first, and that kind of stuff. Yep, I forgot to add perlite into the bottom of this, so we'll put an extra scoop and try to get it down there as far as we can. I didn't even know the name for this stuff until this year. It's like, what's that white styrofoamy looking stuff that loosens soil up? It's perlite. It's made from volcanoes, I think. Double check your research on that. I'm not sure, but I think that's what it's from. Alright, this is a container I had tried growing something in. It was doing well, and then I accidentally broke it. So we're just going to add some perlite to this and a little bit of plant food, since this was from my old soil. And then we can just use this same soil to replant stuff in. We're going to feed it, and we're lightening it up, which is basically what it needs. So heavy as I like dig down in here. It really just did need something to lighten it up. And since I already had something growing in here, we of course want to add some plant food back in just to nourish whatever we're gonna plant in here. I do that each time. Okay. That one will need less water. It's still a little bit wet. Probably end up cutting tops off these ones that I'm gifting because I don't want them falling over out there. You guys will have to remind me to put the perlite in. It's much easier to do in layers. Look at this. That's crazy. Come on, back to the roots. Do better. Wood chips. I don't have enough containers to do everything in there, but try to get as many up in it as possible, and then I guess start saving containers. I don't really love clutter, so I had was collecting them inside of like a giant garbage bag and have them in my closet out here. I guess you could call it a potting shed or storage shed or whatever. But it got to the point that that bag was full, and I didn't just want to keep collecting things looking like a Sanford and Sons episode. So I was like, okay, we're going to stop collecting containers for right now until I need them again. But I think after I give these away, I'm going to need some more containers. I do have some more, but not like these big ones, and these are nice for being able to plant things deeply that wouldn't do well in super small containers. Like, these are fairly established tomatoes at this point. They're going to hopefully have some pretty solid roots on them. So we don't want to put them in a super shallow container, because also I don't know how quickly people are going to replant these, and yes, they will need to be replanted. They cannot live their lives in here. Tomatoes like a much bigger container so they can spread their roots, and they need to, because tomatoes can grow quite high and have lots of branches off them, so they need those elaborate and established root systems to be able to keep the plant separate. Otherwise, You'll have floppy tomatoes. Nobody wants a floppy tomato. Well, it really does smell like almost medicinal. I'm not hating it. It's just different. My brightness is like auto adjusting because it's up and down. Can't really see the screen sometimes. Once I finish filling these containers, I'm going to manually adjust that. I should have put like a towel or a tarp or something underneath this so I didn't get so much soil. See that? So I don't get so much soil on the ground. Because I just swept everything. But it's fine. Gardening's dirty. If you're staying clean, I don't think you're doing it right. I wonder how many tomatoes I'll end up having. If there was a way to get them to you guys without so much trouble and expense, I would do that. But it's kind of hard to ship live plants. There's people who do that, and that's their specialty. But that is not my specialty. I don't know what my specialty is. Yakking to a camera while I plant things, I guess. You guys in here first. Okay. Alright, let's raise this brightness a little. There we go. Okay. Now I can see the screen. Okay. I still see what I'm doing. There we go. Alright. You guys hear these birds out here? I don't know how well with this mic if it picks up like the ambient noise. I love sitting out here in the mornings or the evenings and just listening to birds. It's so pretty, so peaceful. Yogurt containers, we're going to do the same thing with those. I think this I can probably make up a bunch. Not quite as deep. So yeah, if you don't have gardening containers, don't let that stop you. Save some things that you already have and use those. A quick wash, a quick rinse. Peanut butter jars, I use those. When it gets to the end of our peanut butter, we make a peanut sauce right in the jar. Add the hot water that you use, kind of blend the sauce right into the jar. That does most of the cleaning. And it's a quick wash, and you have a seed starting container or seedling container, I have planted tiny little herb seeds inside of ice cube trays and gotten my stuff started that way. I think that was a little too shallow. I did notice a lot of root curling, but I'm just saying, if you're determined to plant, feel like you don't have what you need to get started, get creative. Just like I did. Now I've got half the produce section planted on my lanai, as one of my subscribers called it. We were going over list everything I have growing. She was like, so basically like the entire produce section at Walmart? I was like, yeah, pretty much. And then I'm also going to use these. These would not be great to keep something in long term because it's glass and I don't have any drainage holes. But just to get these, this is fine. You would not want to keep something like a tomato in here because even though the soil might stay wet longer, you also want to have drainage holes so that can drain and then you can give fresh water because plants need that. Alright, let's stop there so that we have enough room to mix this a little bit more narrow of a container. This feels like so many containers, but I have a feeling once I start potting these up, it's not going to be nearly enough. Love the giant sticks. That's fine for like my actual raised bed that I have, not so much for seeds starting. Like in some of my deeper pots and bags, I always mess the name up. These culture, like in the bottom third of the containers, I actually gathered, small sticks, twigs, branches, things like that. Put that in. Then I did some leaves, and natural pine needles. We have Florida pine trees right outside our door here, so putting some of that in the bottom just so that I didn't have to use so much soil, because I don't know if y'all know it or not, but soil can get pricey. So finding little ways that you can save money like that are golden. And those sticks and twigs and leaves and branches will break down over time and eventually become soil, and they will provide nourishment to the existing soil and whatever you're planting in it as well. So I'm not minding so much like the mulch component as far as like for my actual raised beds. But basically I'm turning this into potting mix by lightening it up and adding the food in the ones that needed it. Since this soil actually contains plant food, I don't feel like I have to add that to everyone. I could, but I'm not keeping these long term, and I would advise people when they pot them from my gifted containers that they put them in some good potting soil. Okay. Just want to move that a little bit. So we've got that done. I think we're going to bring our container of tomatoes over here. Adjust. Oh, shoot. There were a few containers that I still had to drill holes in. Let's do that before we put. Okay, that one's got it. Let's see. That one's got holes. one does not. So, a few different ways you can do that. For me, we already have, we have like the Ryobi batteries and tools and stuff. So I literally just and then we take this one because I'm on camera. I'm sure. Let's try a different spot. There we go. That easy. And I just do a couple holes, 2 to 3. Okay. That one's still on. I think there's only a few that I have to do that in yet. I was trying to get like all the containers rinsed and stuff, but our water had gone out. So I was rinsing them and then doing the holes, and so in the ones where I couldn't rinse them, I also didn't drill holes in them. So just making sure I do that now before I get the plants in so I don't accidentally drill through any roots, because nobody wants that. Girls with power tools, am I right? If you didn't have a drill, there's a few other ways you could do it. You could like heat, something metal and sharp and just kind of press it against here. Hope your way into it. Okay. I think there should be like one more in this. That one's got some. That one's got some. I think this one still has a little. Yep. Okay. Turn that lid off. Should be them all, but let me just double check. Easier to do it now. Oh, no, I'm gonna have to drill that one. Let's see. Oh my goodness. I really thought I didn't used to do this. Okay, these 3 I have to do. That one's fine, that one's fine, that one's fine, that one's fine. Alright. One last one. Almost done with the drill noise. Thank you for your patience. Really did try to have as much of this ready as humanly possible. Like I said, the water outage was unexpected. Alright. Let's take a quick break to hydrate. So, bring this over here. Okay, your girl's not so strong. So, hefting this. Sack of tomato plants. Okay, we're standing with a little bit bandy legs. Okay. There we go. Okay. I like these because they got hefty handles. And I can just slide them. No, I have to straight out lift, which is good. Alright. Can I tell you guys, if you don't know, if you've never grown tomatoes or sniffed a growing tomato plant, the plants themselves are amazing. They smell like tomatoes. I don't know why I found that so surprising. I guess I thought the actual plant wouldn't smell like tomatoes and only the tomatoes would smell like tomatoes, but that's not the case. I love it. Put a little bit more soil in this one. And let's turn this way so you can kind of see what I'm doing here. Alright. So, I don't know if I'm going to wear gloves for this or not. Sometimes when I'm dealing with tiny little roots, it's just easier to take the gloves off so I don't screw them up. But hopefully. Now, first of all, I'm going to keep 2 of these. So, I got to pick which ones I want. This one looks quite lovely and sturdy. It's got several sets of leaves on it. The stem is nice and thick. And I think this one as well. So those are going to be the 2 that we'll keep. So for now, I'm going to leave them in there. And I'll just start potting up the rest of these. And if we end up breaking some, it really is fine because some of these are planted quite close together. And when I go in there to loosen up the roots, some of them are indeed going to break off. That's okay because we have like way too many plants anyways. So I think it's going to be easier to dig these little babies out. Look how cute. And then we'll just pot them all up once. So let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 containers. So that's how many we can dig out and plant. Let's see. Okay. Here's number 2. This one doesn't have any roots attached, so that one. Look how bendy this one is. That's fine. You can actually plant them fairly deep too, like all the way up to where the leaves are, just to give them some more support. I do that with, I've got a couple tomato starts that we bought at the store, and I did that when I planted them anyways, just to give them like extra strength. So like rather than just planting from, let's say like here on down, I'm gonna bury these like up to that. Okay. That one's got some good roots. That's what we like to see. All right. Now, some of these I kind of thinned out when I planted them, and then I honestly, the other container just kind of plopped them in here. And actually done quite well considering. These tomatoes are like voracious feeders. So, what I might do is just dig them all out except for the tomato plant for us. And we'll take a look at the roots and see which ones look the most. That one's obviously dying, so get rid of that one. See which ones look the most viable, I guess you could say. And some of these roots may end up being way too tangled. So that one looks real good. Look how big that one is. Yay. Just gently gonna break these apart. That's so wild. Look at this. This is a little bit of the tomato skin from the tomato slice that I planted. Like all that's left of the original tomato. It's so crazy. It really is so easy to like grow food. I'm not saying I get everything perfect, guys, because some succeed and some fail miserably, but it's not rocket science. And we're so wasteful with food in this country. Like the idea that I have this many tomato plants from a couple slices of tomatoes that I wasn't going to use, and these can bless other people. Um, that feeds my soul. That makes my soul so happy. And for me, I think this is going to be so fun to plant these, let them grow, and like see what kind of, that one doesn't really have a whole lot of roots on it, and see what, what kind of tomato is going to grow, because we don't know. These were grocery store tomatoes. So when you plant the seeds from grocery store tomatoes, you may get something similar to the actual tomato that you bought, or you may get something completely different. It really just depends on its genetics, and we don't know its genetics. So it's kind of a fun experiment, and I am super excited for mine, like the ones that was broken, for the ones that I'm going to keep, like to get to see what they turn into. Yeah. I may end up keeping some more of these, like growing them a little bigger and then gifting them at a later date when I have some more bigger containers, because we'll see. Alright, let's see that one. This one's teeny, but might be. She's got roots. Same with this one. That one's actually looking kind of sad. Alright, let's see. We got one here that's looking good. These are missing their heads. Sometimes I'm missing my head too. It's fine. Ooh, wow. Yeah, that one's got great roots. And that one's sad. A few more over here. Okay. Look how sweetly this one is. And it's got good roots. And this one has no roots. Alright, so then it just leaves these few that I'm thinking of keeping, but I am going to dig them up and amend the soil and then replant them. Yeah, actually. These are okay roots. We'll see. And this one actually has really poor roots. So ironically, that plant grew pretty amazing, looking great on top, but the roots are kind of crappy. Alright, so what I'm going to do is just kind of dig through the soil, loosen it up, because this was from that bag of soil that was so compacted. I want to loosen it and feed it, because tomatoes are super feeder, so I am sure the soil is depleted. Way down in here, getting this loosened up as far to the bottom as I can possibly do. It's really compacted under there. Way down in the bottom. Okay. Alright, now I'm gonna mix a good amount of food in, because this is a big container. This is a 10-gallon grow bag. Probably want a little extra. That's fine. Lock this in. Just going to make it look like snow on top. And this is going to make our soil lovable again, so that we can plant the tomato seedlings we're keeping in there. Like in the olden days when your packages were filled with styrofoam. I just got styrofoam peanuts all over me, except it's pearl white. It's fine. I need to change clothes and shower after this anyways. Okay, I got mixed into the top, but I want to get way frozen toad. Frozen toad. I'm going to do the best I can, and that means I probably won't be able to mix all the way to the bottom without hurting myself. But I think we've got like 75% of this well mixed, well fed, and now I feel like we can plant our tomato babies in this, and we'll get some planted into these containers too. So let's see how many surviving ones we had after digging them all out. My dog also killed about a quarter of them at one point by climbing on top of the container. So I really do think we get close to 50 initially. But surviving wise, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Check that one. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That one kind of broke, so we're not going to plant that. We're going to okay. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. I feel like the count on Sesame Street. 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36 and 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, and 45. 45 seedlings, viable seedlings. So I originally must have had way more than that. Holy cow. To clarify, 45 viable seedlings from two slices of a grocery store tomato that I planted, I don't know, weeks, months ago, and we're going to replant them and get them now. So, I gotta look at these and see, like, which ones do I want to keep? I'm going to keep a couple. I think this is going to be one. So I'm not just looking at what the plant itself looks like, but I'm also looking at the roots, because some have really phenomenal roots and not so good up above. Some have both. Actually, that's okay. That's a contender. It's so hard. Honestly, these are, it's like choosing my favorite pet child, whatever. Let's see. Let's put like perlite on the top of this. Two, because I got some more soil in here. Nice and light. And just start potting these up now. Something I like to do also has my battery. Okay, we're getting low, but we're almost to the end of an hour. something I like to do is take this. This is like a kebab stick when I'm planting seedlings. Is take it, put it all the way to the bottom, and spin it around, and basically create myself a nice wide open planting hole all the way to the bottom, because that gives these roots room to stretch out. They're not compacted. That way I can, and I use the shish kebab set to actually guide the tomato plant all the way to the bottom so that it has good support and room for these to grow. Now, I'll water all these at the end here. There's our first little tomato seedling we're going to gift. I should also get my soil here as well. We will end up thinning this to only one, but I'm going to plant like maybe 2 or 3 in here right now. And see, just in case something happens to 1 or 2 or whatnot. And again, I'll show you what these look like once I have them in there. Remember how I said I'm going to plant them all the way up until this first set of leaves. I'm covering them all the way up to there. All right. Got ours planted. Let me see if I can move these out of the way. All right. Now, we can focus on uppotting these. I'm going to turn you a little bit this way so you can see what I'm doing. This one's super squirrely, but healthy looking. And truthfully, I may actually cover these all the way up to the top with additional soil once I get these all in here, just to give them some support, especially for the ones that have been growing kind of squirrely. Some are perfectly fine standing upright. Some are like this one and just kind of grew a little crooked. Sometimes, and ideally, I would have pre-wet the soil, but like I said, our water went out before I started this. So, that makes it a little tougher. I do concur that I'm going to add more soil to these after I'm done here. It's actually much easier to get these planted when the soil is actually damp. So I would recommend pre-moistening your soil and then watering them again afterwards. All right, we got 4 of it. I'm gonna move these over. This one needs a teensy bit of water because that soil was already wet before. All right. I don't know what we're gonna do with these ones yet that don't have a container. do have other containers I could use, but they're not as ideal as this. These are nice because of their depth. The other containers that I have are considerably shorter than this. Why is that one not going all the way down? Sometimes I use the glove stick to kind of guide them in too. Hands are starting to get a little wilty. That's okay. I will anticipate this to have some transplant shock, but that's fine when that's back. It's all nice and watered in. Sometimes super simple tools like this are the most effective. And then I got a whole package of gloves sticks. Or gloves sticks in the kitchen. And I'm sure there's a tool for this that I could pay for. But why would I? A free tool. That is cheap as well. And smaller containers. Big size. Once these are transplant shock, these are going to do they're going to fast. And these good, healthy soil with food and lots of ability for these guys to put down. It's where their roots will. Make sure that it's marketplace post. We're over now. Okay, that's good. Some of these babies I could put in the solid container, so maybe I will save some of those to do that with. Just a feeling for friends. Alright, this is where I'm going to kind of wrap the video for tonight. I've still got so many of these it's crazy. You have to figure out what to do. I might just put them in another paper bag for nail, so that these two that I've planted here, that I am actually going to majority have a better shot of doing that. Then I containers I can up these ones into treatment them into individual containers. But thanks so much for those who tuned in. If you please make sure to like, share, subscribe to my channel. I generally post shorts every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I'm going to try to be going live every Sunday evening, so feel free to hop in there, usually around 7 o'clock, I think is what I'm shooting for. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a great night, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!